Brian Reynolds, the Chancellor with the Archdiocese of Louisville. Welcome to our podcast series, What's New in ArchLou. This show highlights the people and ministries of the Archdiocese, the Catholic Church in Central Kentucky. Join us each month as we welcome guests to discuss what's new in the Archdiocese and invite you to get more involved in your faith as you deepen your own commitment. This program is brought to you by the ArchLou Podcast Network. Well, everyone, we've made it to November. I mean, the leaves have changed, the weather is changing, and we're about to enter the sometimes hectic, sometimes wonderful holiday season. So it's too early to say Merry Christmas, but I will say Happy Thanksgiving because we're just arriving now this month. Well, we're excited to have a special guest today. Father John Baptist Hoang is the chaplain of the campus ministry at the University of Louisville. We're going to learn about him, and we're going to learn about how does Catholic campus ministry work on a secular campus. So first, welcome, Father John Baptist.
Yes, thanks for having me, Brian.
Glad to have you here. A little bit about him, and then he'll add to this. Father John Baptist is a Dominican priest. He is in his third year at UofL. He grew up in Northern Virginia and attended the University of Virginia, where as a student, he first encountered the Dominican community through campus ministry there. I tell you that besides that little bit of information, Father John Baptist, how about a little more of your background?
Sure. There's a lot to say.
That's great.
My parents are from Vietnam, but I was born and raised in the United States. I was actually born in California, but my dad was in the U.S. Navy, and so we moved around a lot when I was younger. But we pretty much settled in Virginia for most of my life, and so. I grew up Catholic, and just had that family background there. Both of my parents were Catholic, and by the time I got to college, that's when my faith really kind of came alive. So I don't know what else you want to know about me.
Now, siblings? Do you have other fixed?
I have a younger sister.
Sister?
We're 10 years apart.
Okay,
but she just graduated from grad school with her master's in biodefense.
So
yeah.
Okay.
So
this is just trivia, but when you went to UVA, what did you study?
So I ended up in religious studies and sociology, double major, but I actually started off in chemical engineering with a pre-med track.
Oh my goodness! Okay,
yeah.
So, chemical engineering and theology. I'm going to figure out how this all goes together.
Yeah, well, pretty much God happened.
So that's good. That's a good, strong voice to listen to. Very, very good. Okay, and then you moved to as a Dominican. You got involved in campus ministry, and I think first at New York University. Did I have that right? That's the order?
Yes, yeah. So I was ordained in 2016. So I met the Dominicans when I was a student at UVA. They have the campus ministry there, and so that's why God happened. And so right after I graduated in 2009. Joined the Dominicans right away. Just kind of fell in love with the faith, fell in love with the Dominican order, and then through that kind of formation, ordained in 2016, I was sent to New York. But actually, I didn't start off in campus ministry. I started off in 2 years in parochial ministry as a parochial vicar at the church where NYU serves, or where the church serves NYU. And then after 2 years, and then I was named the NYU chaplain. I served there for 4 years. And then came here to Louisville, and this is my third year as the chaplain at UofL.
Now, just a little bit more about NYU. I remember we discussed this one time, you and I, when you were coming here. I asked you about the campus of NYU, and you said, yeah, it's the whole city.
Yeah,
is that
there's no campus there. Yeah, the closest thing to a campus is Washington Square Park, but it's a public park. It's crazy, just have people there. And then the dorm buildings and the classroom buildings, they're interspersed between all kinds of other buildings in New York. So it really is just the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how did that transition go from NYU to U of L?
I would say the first thing I noticed right away was that my blood pressure went down right away.
Very good. Yay, good for the medical world. That's great.
Yeah, that's right. No, New York is just a tough environment. It's fast paced, and so you always have to be just on the go. So hence probably why the blood pressure was a little higher.
Yeah.
Coming to Louisville, this is more like home to me because I grew up in Virginia, mostly in Northern Virginia, but still this is kind of my environment. So I'm loving it here in Louisville.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Listen, let's talk about campus ministry at U of L for a little bit of time here. The Archdiocese has had a presence on the U of L campus since the 1960s, I believe, and we're excited because what's happening now is some of the most vibrant, active time, I think, in that 50-plus year history. So before we talk about Chaplain, just tell us what campus ministry looks like. We'll talk about you in it, but talk about what it looks like at the University of Louisville.
In terms of our normal day-to-day, we've been doing our ministry in the Interfaith Center at the University of Louisville, and so. As far as I've been there, we've been offering daily masses, daily adoration, daily confessions. There, so kind of like the sacraments are definitely the standard, you could say, for really just for these students and faculty to really just encounter the Lord, encounter their faith. So in addition to masses, we have all kinds of different activities to help really kind of these students really encounter God, encounter truth. So, for instance, we have a fellowship night on Thursdays. We have adoration there in the evening. There's some praise and worship music, followed by a fellowship time for just the students just to get together. Wednesdays, we have this group called Faith and Reason, where these students want to get together and discuss intellectual topics in the faith. We also have just a number of Bible studies run by our Focus missionaries. I'm sure we can talk more about Focus, and then just random things here and there, from random campus ministry parties, tailgates at football games, to hikes and camping trips, to retreats. It's like running a parish, basically, but for college students.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I often have said to folks that if we counted individual people, U of L could be the largest parish in the Archdiocese.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're the only priest there. I know you have some others help you, but so as chaplain, I guess your role is as pastor then to the campus, the sacramental. Obviously, the Lord is the source of sacraments, but you're the provider of the sacraments to. And you mentioned students and faculty, the whole community. Huh?
Yes, yeah. So we get some faculty that will come to some of our things, from masses to adoration, mostly just during their lunch break, because professors are pretty busy, grad students are very busy, but they come to what they can there. But it's great having some of the U of L faculty just come around as a support.
Yeah. So as the pastor of U of L, anyway, let's one of the things that I know that helps you have some staff you work with, and a big part of that staff is what we call focus ministers. So let's talk first about maybe your staff, and then the focus ministers.
Sure, yeah. So my staff consists of myself, and then a lay campus minister, Laura. She's just a young adult, and who's been here a couple years now, and she helps me, especially just kind of putting on the programs for campus ministry. A very great logistical person. I also entrusted her with a lot of the formation for our student leadership as well. So that's been great. She's just been kind of keeping just the campus ministry going, where I can focus more on kind of my side of things as being a chaplain and being a priest, and kind of caring for kind of the spiritual needs of the students. And then I have 4 focus missionaries that are on staff as well. So
focus.
Yeah. So focus.
So FOCUS.
Yes. Yeah. So it stands for the Fellowship of Catholic University Students. Okay. So it's this national, starting to become international, but mostly national organization. that was started just over 25 years ago. And they pretty much took their model at that time from a Protestant group that was doing outreach to college campuses. And so they wanted, the founders, they were just kind of young adults at the time, they wanted to do something on a Catholic level. And so they started off pretty small, but then over the years, over the decades, they've kind of grown. And so they have something like over 700, 800 focused missionaries. They're just young adults, mostly recent graduates from college, who apply and respond to the call of becoming a missionary on these different college campuses. They work with the campus ministries on these different college campuses, and their main task is really just to really reach students, especially on that one-on-one level, which, for me, just being kind of if we're using the analogy of being a pastor at a parish, I would love to meet every single person at UofL. That would be amazing. But it'd be the same with like your own pastor. It's like I'm like every pastor would dream to just meet every single parishioner, sit down with them, have coffee with them, everything. But because of all the demands of ministry and everything, you kind of have to delegate these tasks. And the beauty of especially just the laity in the church, to really kind of be that outreach arm and to kind of create that space for kind of community, family, where really a lot of the work happens on the ground level, you could say, where you just have these young adults meeting other college students, just getting to know them, maybe being at their events, inviting them to things, to Bible studies are kind of a big thing that Focus does. So they create that community through the Bible studies. And then from there, when students are just drawn deeper into their faith, and then they kind of get maybe a little bit one-on-one time or a little bit small group time where the Focus missionaries can really kind of help to form them and form their faith, and just to inspire them to really have their faith come alive, and then they become leaders in the community as well. So it's a wonderful thing.
I guess it is a form of peer ministry. So because they're close in age, the same college students are serving, right? Yes,
and then the idea is that it's not just on the Focus missionaries or everything. They kind of get things started, and then once they inspire these kind of first wave of students, those students become peer ministers to their peers, and so it just kind of has a triple effect. And so hence the just kind of expanding the outreach of really just reaching the gospel to everyone on campus. But it's done through kind of just a few people at a time, just like Jesus chose a few apostles, but the church grew really just from that few.
So if I understand it, they come for most of them serve for about 2 years and rotate through, so you have a regular turnover of the actual missionaries.
Yes.
I love that they're called missionaries. And then a new groups get formed. Many of them we've heard have gone on to religious life, priesthood, religious life, to Catholic marriages, to ministry positions in the church. Yeah. So it's also
one of them is working for the Archdiocese in the communications. So
it's kind of like a feeder system for us. It's we have which is great.
It's so awesome. So awesome. So it's wonderful. Campus ministry is I see it as really this hub in the diocese where we catch the students that are coming from like the high schools and their first time away from home, and trying to catch them and really just to kind of reinvigorate them, to send them out as young adults to their parishes or to their dioceses, and they can really help enliven the church, enliven the diocese. So we're kind of preparing the way for the next generation.
Very good. The time spent with a young adult meeting another young adult who's witnessing to their faith is a powerful opportunity for God to move in their lives. As you said, even for yourself, it wasn't through Focus, but when you were at a UVA, God happened. This is where it happened.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm still in touch with some of my friends from college, and It's just a wonderful. Yeah.
And I believe there's several universities or colleges in Kentucky that also have focus ministry.
Yes, there are 4. Yeah,
Okay.
So Louisville, UK, Murray State, and WKU.
Very good. That's great.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to have an apostolate, we call it, a campus ministry on a secular campus. Is there any conflict that causes to have a faith community within a secular world?
I don't think it creates a conflict. I think it's definitely maybe a contrast, especially maybe the secular culture just has just different values from just the gospel culture, from the Christian culture. But I don't see so much of a clash, but I see more as just it's the hunger of all of humanity. Is every single person is hungering for happiness and hungering for truth, meaning in their life, and so being having a Catholic campus ministry on a secular campus, and I had that experience too at UVA. Is an opportunity just to kind of search, and so a lot of these maybe secular campuses allow for these different religious groups because they see the need for, especially young people today, just to find any kind of meaning in their life, especially with the increase in kind of the mental health crisis, you could say. The university is actually very, very thankful for all the different religious groups.
That's great to hear that there's an appreciation for that. I do, and then for families who see their young adults go off to college after high school, I know here in the Archdiocese of Louisville, our 24 counties, the 2 schools that more students go to than anything else is UofL and UK.
Yes.
So having, and obviously those are not faith-based universities, but to know that there's something on campus right there it's great for families to know that. I think very, very good. Now, beyond that, I don't want to just look like we're making up great praise, but I have to stew that, Father, because in the work you've done in the few years you've been here, great things are happening. Just a couple examples. Can you talk us? Last year we had young adults come into the church at the Easter Vigil. We've had a huge increase in mass attendance, so that on weekends you've had to move the mass to Holy Name Church down the street. Tell us about some of those. I'm not trying to just praise you because how good you are, which you are, but I have to tell you that impact on people's lives. Tell me about those 2 things.
Oh yeah, the impact is incredible. There's just the stories. Every person has a story of just coming to faith. You mentioned people just entering to the church. It's amazing seeing some people who didn't even grow up with any Christian background, not even a background in God. It's just the way that maybe a lot of the culture is now. Just there's just numbers of families that don't have any religious background at all, but they come and they encounter us. Now it's funny, actually, most of these students, they first encounter the faith through like TikTok is what they tell me, but then they come, then TikTok, I guess, points them to church, so it's kind of funny. So there's some good there on social media, but they point us there, and then they finally encounter just not just mass, but a community as well, just living their faith. So they're very much encouraged. They want to just commit their lives to the Lord, get baptized, which is just wonderful. In terms of, but most of our campus ministry consists of students who are reverts to the faith. And myself was like that. So I grew up Catholic, and when I was a teenager, when I was in high school age, I like to say I thought I cared more about girls than I cared about God. God just wasn't a serious thing until I came to college, and then I started asking like the bigger questions in life, about the meaning of my life. And especially as you go into a college campus, you just see a diversity of different religions and cultures, and so you're left with this like existential question on your mind. And so So I'm a revert to the faith. I just kind of had my faith just kind of come alive, and so most of our students actually involved in the campus ministry are like that. They may have gone to Catholic schools or Catholic parishes growing up, but there's like this. They needed a spark, which is really just confirmation. Really, it's just the fruits of confirmation, the Holy Spirit just coming alive. But that spark kind of comes alive, and so because of that. And just with the ministry that we're doing, the outreach, especially with Focus Missionaries, doing the outreach and inviting them to come and come to Mass and to come to every Sunday Mass, which is encouraging. We outgrew the space in the Interfaith Center. So the Interfaith Center is very limited. You can fit just a max comfortably, 50 students there. If you really want to expand more than that, you could have to really cram in there. It's a small space. It's a very, very small space. And so this is my third year here serving campus ministry in this archdiocese. And so what happened was I just saw the increase. And so this past summer I just approached you and the Archbishop and was I need help. We're so limited in the Interfaith Center, and then it was Archbishop's suggestion to why don't you check out Holy Name? Talk to Pastor there, Father Bowling. Father Bowling's just been so wonderful. His hospital and same with his parishioners as well. They've been just so generous. They've been loving us have there. So now we celebrate Sunday Mass there at Holy Name Church when school is in session. Yeah. And it's just great, just having a bigger space. There's just a bigger worship space for students, and now just seeing that increase just continue.
For those who don't know, it's just a few blocks from campus, but it's right across the street from the football stadium, the baseball stadium. So the students know Holy Name.
Yes,
they see it.
Yes, that bell tower.
Bell tower. So very good. Obviously, doing this ministry, you get to know a lot about college students. You, as you said before, there's mission trips, there's conferences, camping trips even. What can you tell us about, there's no such thing as the typical college student, but you hear some concerning things these days about younger adults, that they're burdened. You already talked about mental illness, or it comes out as depression often, or concern about values. And what insight can you tell us about college students?
Sure. Yeah. I guess the way I've seen this is kind of maybe a two-fold approach. One, just kind of the larger crisis on a general level you kind of see is students are struggling with just loneliness, just isolation. So I remember being at one of these meetings at the university where they gave kind of statistic just to us who are kind of serving in different capacities at the university, and they said, loneliness is definitely the number one thing that students are facing, just at the University of Louisville. So I can imagine just other campuses as well. But related to that loneliness, I've as I kind of really meet the students and get to know them. Really, the deeper thing that they're struggling with is just knowing that they're actually good, that they're lovable, and so it's something that just appears, I think, in almost every homily I preach to them, is that just to reaffirm their goodness, their value, their worth, especially when they're young people in college. They can go all over the place in terms of their decisions, and so sometimes there's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt of kind of maybe things that they've done, and so to reaffirm just their dignity, their worth. It just means a lot just to say that, hey, you're good, you're lovable, and just to have someone say that to them means a lot.
That's a gift and a blessing, Father, I think, for them. How about for yourself? How is your faith impacted by doing this type of ministry? Obviously, your whole priesthood is ministry, but particularly in this context, what happens to Father John Baptist in this context?
Oh, you're talking what happens to Father John Baptist in my faith, in my personal life. Yeah.
Do you mind?
Oh yeah, no, this is great. I'll be a little bit vulnerable here. Yeah, that's great. I actually grew in spiritual fatherhood since becoming a college chaplain at NYU. So this is trying to do the math. This is my 7th year as a college chaplain. But I saw right away my first as a college chaplain at NYU. Just like experience, just seeing students in their good times and their bad times, and especially like their tragic moments in life, and you become like a kind of like a father to them, a spiritual father to them. And so I would say like my maturity in growing in identifying with God the Father in this way has helped my priesthood, help me in my vocation, because you just kind of realize, like, God is what the scriptures say. He's slow to anger, quick in mercy, and so you learn to really just be like God the Father to others. Yeah.
So the goodness of God flows from you, but you also find it coming back to you.
Yeah, and it's so that's been a blessing, and the young people are a joy too as well. So they, it's just like, they'll say some kind of funny joke, and and so there's a lot of good time, a lot of good community as well, and that's related to the loneliness that I was talking about. Is the thing that Catholic Campus Ministry has to offer is that we're not a club. I think at the university level, there a lot of clubs are offered, but not a lot of community is offered. There's a difference, and so the community, especially a Christian community, we see ourselves. This is why St. Paul, refers to us as like brothers and sisters. We're family. And so we share life together. We share our joys and sorrows together. That is the church, and so that's something as a witness, I think, that campus ministry has to offer on college campuses, is that we actually have community offered.
The students you and your colleagues are serving are really lucky. I'm really impressed with this. Okay, but it's beyond your official responsibilities, and I'm going to tease you up with this. You're visible on the sidelines as the unofficial chaplain of the UofL football team. So, first, do you get credit or blame when they win or lose?
I will say, I think I get credit when we win. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. There've been a few times where I would maybe say like a Hail Mary, like really more slowly, and when we're actually down, and then when after that Hail Mary, whoa, touchdown! So I don't know about the losses.
Blessed Mother's taking the credits.
The losses usually happen towards the end of the season, so maybe I'm like exhausted. So that was really funny. But Mary definitely gets all the credit for the wins.
Very good. Do you connect with any other sports teams, or is it just football?
Yeah, so it's all through different connections I've had. It's a very relational ministry. So I have connections to the swim team, to the women's lacrosse team, to the men's soccer team. The track and field team, we've had students. We've had some rowers that are students involved in campus ministry. So yeah, it's just wherever I know somebody, that's my connection.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. You can spend the whole time doing athletic work. This is great.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And we have focused missionaries. Some of them are designated to do specific outreach to athletes, and some of them are designated to do specific outreach to the Greek life, to the fraternities and sororities. So
good.
Yeah, so we're doing outreach. Yeah,
that's very good. Okay, now this is Kentucky, and this is Louisville. So we can't blame you for the outcome, but I want to know, for those of our listeners who are beyond our area, but also our area, know that the great rivalry between the University of Kentucky and University of Louisville in every sport. But this is that time of year, and the game's coming up later this month. What's your prediction?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna feel hated and loved. Here. I'm gonna have to go with Louisville, obviously, for being the chaplain here. But I will make a score prediction.
Oh, good.
I will say Louisville will win, but it'll be close.
Okay.
And I think the score will be 28 Louisville to 21 UK.
20,
So we'll win by a touchdown.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Mark that down, everybody, and you know where to call if you see that game. 28-21, U of L to win. Okay, First prediction. That's terrific. That's wonderful. Father John Baptist, as I said, the students are blessed to have you, but the whole local church of the Archdiocese is blessed to have you. You have impacted us with your personal witness, but also you've enlivened something that an invisible parish has now become very visible to us, the University of Louisville, as a place where young people and others who serve them can come and grow in their faith. So I want to thank you on behalf of those you serve and who may never say to you, thank you, but for the local church, thank you. You're a terrific gift, and we're blessed to have you with us.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks, Brian. And just thanks for just first of all having welcomed me to this Archdiocese a couple of years ago, and just the ability to serve here. It's been a beautiful part of my vocation to serving in this diocese. There's just so much more to do. This is not on the prompt here, but I will make a pitch here for just the importance of the Catholic Service Appeal, and that those donations to the Archdiocese, to the Catholic Service Appeal, does help support Catholic campus ministry, and there's just so much more work to do. Not only do what I desire, just Catholic campus ministry to provide more programs and more outreach to students, but as we do that, who knows where the Lord is going to take the Catholic campus ministry. So I definitely want to offer just
thank you for that.
Gratitude for support, from the listeners.
Well, we thank you. That's a good reminder for all of us that the ministries require the support of the Catholic faithful in our Archdiocese to do the work we do, and all of our ministries, all the apostolates. But campus ministry, obviously, the university doesn't fund this, and most students don't have very much money in their pockets.
No.
So the resources for staff and for programming comes from the faithful, and we're grateful to all of our listeners and all of our supporters of that. So we thank our viewers and our listeners for being with us for this edition of What's New in ArchLou. Talk again in the coming weeks as we prepare for Thanksgiving, and we'll see you again next month.